I want to start with a couple of special things. One is going to be, how do you fix your brand? And this is a special little message to my friends on the left. There are consequences to your actions, okay? You got Trump, term 1. Trump term 1 was like a puppy dog. I'm not trying to insult anyone. I don't want to offend you, okay? I like Trump term 1. It was fine. It's nothing compared to what we're seeing now. It's like a totally different. It's like a different animal. Trump term 1, Donald Trump came into office willing to do deals with Democrats, govern from the middle, invite Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Gavin Newsom over, go do some dinners. Trump was going to give you universal health care. You could have gotten anything you wanted if you had just done the deal with the guy. He came into office as a centrist, and you couldn't resist your psychotic, demonic, evil urges. The second President Trump got into office, you said he stole the presidency. You called him a Russian plant. You called him a Russian agent. You launched investigations into every person in his administration. You kneecapped and gutted guys like Mike Flynn, patriots, honorable men. You sabotaged and kneecapped him from the get by putting his entire campaign staff, Paul Manafort, in prison. Then you launched a special investigation, special counsel. That lasted for 3 years. Just pure taxpayer-funded harassment of the president from within his own administration. Then you impeached him for nothing. Then you impeached him again for nothing. Then you locked up his supporters. Then you locked President Trump up. You arrested Trump, gave him a mugshot. Then you charged President Trump with 470 years worth of crime. You tried to bankrupt him. You got rulings against him for hundreds of millions of dollars, which anybody will tell you would be a very, very hard ruling to pay off, no matter how rich you are. Nobody's that liquid. Then you shot him. Then you hoped he got killed. Then you let multiple assassins come within literally an arm's length of him from the bushes. Then you got that. And now you're all wondering why Trump's so mean to you. Now you're going to, why is he so mean? Why is he so mean to us? We're so sad. What did we ever do to you? You raided the guy's wife's closet. He's married to a supermodel from Slovenia. You raided the billionaire's wife. You sent your degenerate pervert agents in there to go sniff. You sickos. He's got one prepubescent son living at home. You raided his stuff. You messed with his Nintendo Switch. You reset it. You messed up his high score. You messed up Baron's Minecraft. You jackasses. Do you know what you did? And now you're complaining that Trump's being mean to you? Now you're upset at the monster you created, Frankenstein? Here's a photo of the mugshot in the Oval Office. This is new. It should have told you, President Trump's portrait should have told you everything. The moment Trump dropped that portrait, which we should hang up in the studio, honestly, Klein. The moment Trump dropped that new portrait, right? Presidential portrait with him looking very much like the mugshot. We had the mugshot hanging in the studio for ages. Now the mugshot hangs in the White House. Now, it's very interesting, this door. This specific door is where all guests, there's an official door where like the National Security Council and, the vice president, people who have like small, you can see over his shoulder there's Mike Waltz. He's national security he has his own office adjacent to the Oval. But this is the door where the guests enter the Oval Office, okay? So every guest that goes in the Oval Office walks right past Trump's mugshot. Can we please zoom in one more time? There it is. We've never seen that door open. So when Donald Trump's welcoming in people to the White House, they see his mugshot as a reminder. Well, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick trip down memory lane. Some bad actions, all bad actions have consequences. Laws of physics. Don't break the law, okay? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Don't break those laws. You can't break the laws of physics. We're sensing that right now. Letitia James getting sued by the Justice Department. Some actions have measurable consequences with data, okay? That's what that is right here, the back of the studio. It's a big, gigantic physical map we have in the studio of the election results. Here are some other pieces of measurable data. If you are a business and you take bad actions, then you can measure that data. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrat Party, which is in full-on panic, has decided to not read the data. What I'm showing you here is the stock price of Anheuser-Busch. You'll notice that the stock price of Anheuser-Busch really took a hit during COVID, as did virtually every other stock on planet Earth, except for Pfizer stock, which is currently experiencing their doomsday with RFK Jr. getting the chair at HHS. But you can see here it took a pretty bad dump during COVID because they canceled all the sporting events and canceled frat parties and stuff like that, and this is where you would drink Bud Light. It also took quite a plunge right here, virtually as bad as COVID, was this dip. What exactly is this dip here? This is the high water mark for cultural wokeism, when Bud Light decided to partner with Dylan Mulvaney. And at least 30 to 40% of all Bud Light drinkers said, we're not doing that. And canceled, boycotted the brand in the single most successful boycott in American history. How successful is the boycott? This is an article from just a few days ago. This is an article from exactly 7 days ago, February 7th. Bud Light hasn't recovered from Mulvaney controversy 2 years ago, Anheuser-Busch executive says. 30% drop in sales, exodus of customers. Now, let me know in the chat. Will you ever drink a Bud Light again? I don't think people will. I think that Bud Light has lost 30% at least of their customers forever, right? I think 30% of the customer base is gone forever. Partnering with Dylan Mulvaney is the single most toxic decision any brand could ever make. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Still down 30%. So it's about 30% of the market. Bud Light is now no longer the king of beers. It's not. It's been replaced by Modelo. Now, I don't know exactly what that says about our society or culture, but I can tell you it's not good. Okay? So this is what you would call a crisis for a brand, right? Right about here is a crisis. We were very happy to cover this. I'm going to tell you I haven't had a Bud Light since. I don't plan on ever drinking a Bud Light again. I guess we'll, right? Like I guess like some things have to stick. Let me show you another piece of data that sort of tracks in its own way with public stock market data. Share of those who say they have an unfavorable opinion of the Democrat Party. This is from Axios. Survey started in November 2008. Show that the Democrat Party is the single most unpopular party in America and is the most unpopular it's ever been. Oh my. I got a load of this. Two very fun things about this graph. And let's read the top line here, but something very special about this graph. Show you how rigged everything is. Survey started when Barack Obama got into office, 2008. You can see the Democrat Party only had 35% disapproval. That's pretty good. Wow. Listen, a lot of people had a strong, positive opinion on the Democrat Party. Very few people disapproved of the party, respectively, back here, Obama's first term in office. And that number has jigsawed a little bit up and down, but really has skyrocketed in the dawn of the new Trump golden era to 57%. Now, that is untenable. That is actually a full 1-to-1 reversal. So you're talking 30% disapproval to 60% disapproval, give or take, margin of error. That's doubling your disapproval. That's swapping 2 for 1, the people who approve of your party versus disapprove. That's a crisis. Now you'll notice this question was not asked between August 2019 and January 2020. So they just skipped the Biden years. These frauds. As I was reading this article, I was like, you jackals. They skipped the Biden years. But anyway, why would you do that exactly, pollster? Someone explain to me, why would you do that? Anyway, Democratic Party's most unpopular has been in polling that dates back to 2008. Sort of the remaking of the party in the Barack Obama coalition of the dispossessed victimhood coalition, right? Rainbow flag, DEI, BLM coalition of Barack Obama. Democrats are struggling to repair their image with voters after a bruising 2024 election that put President Trump at the White House and Republicans in control of both houses of Congress. Democrat lawmakers are grappling, in some cases experimenting with how to best respond to Trump's rapid sweeping changes in the early days of the administration. We'll get to the mass firings here in just a second. It's amazing. 57% of registered voters have an unfavorable opinion of the Democrat Party, the highest percentage since Quinnipiac started asking the question. 45% of voters have an unfavorable opinion of the Republican Party, but who cares? Because that's a whole 14 points less. Isn't that amazing? The Democrat Party is, by every single measure, the single most unpopular party by orders of magnitude in the country right now. The same CNN poll found that 58% of Democrats and Democrat-leading independents say the party needs major changes or to be completely reformed. This is where I'm getting to here, okay? It's fun to it's called the weave, all right? Who does the Democrat Party bring in to fix their image problem? Dylan Mulvaney! It's so great. It makes me so happy. I cannot emphasize enough how much I endorse Dylan Mulvaney as the next DNC chairperson. I cannot emphasize this enough. This will work for the Democrat Party as well as it worked for Bud Light. Let's toss it up. Okay, here we go. So this is Chuck Schumer, the de facto leader of the Democrat Party. Can you get me Chuck Schumer screaming about Elon Musk? That clip is so funny. This is Chuck Schumer, without question, the leader of the Democrat Party. Nancy Pelosi's getting rolled around in a wheelchair somewhere. Haven't heard from Pelosi in ages. She's utterly off her rocker. Chuck Schumer is like the last vestige of some type of institutional power that they have. And here you go. You're getting fully Mulvaney'd. Here's the end result of what happened to Bud Light. Dylan Mulvaney announced his Bud Light partner in 2023. Mulvaney's video was part of Bud Light's efforts. Younger audiences. How'd that work out? Exactly. The video triggered backlash, and it cost the brewer as much as $1.4 billion in sales. That's actually about as much as Kamala Harris wasted on the 2024 presidential campaign. Isn't that right? Yeah, okay. That's right. So this is the absolute state of the Democrat Party right now. Presented without comment. Chuck Schumer's wife. Just gonna do the JD Vance glance. Just doing the glance. Just doing the glance. There you go. Okay, got it? All right, great. Maybe this is why Chuck seems so miserable when he gets a chance to actually speak to the American public in front of a microphone. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just wanting to tell you what we're up against. Here we go. Here's what we're up against.
I'm going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. 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 We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Leader Schumer.
Okay, I won't do this to your ears again. I'm sorry. But, like, look at the Geico. Do you see the Geico caveman here? Like the Batman villain with his little cane. This is what we're up against. Donald Trump is firing tens of thousands of feds today, and these are the people protecting them. One more time, they've been resorted. I'm reminded that the kings of the Old Testament that needed to be humbled by God were sent out into I think it was Nebuchadnezzar, was like turned into an animal and was like sent out into the fields. This is an old passage from the Old Testament. The kings that were too prideful got humbled and were turned into animals and lived like animals. Nebuchadnezzar or King Saul is one of them, right? Went out and lived like a cow, like ate grass. Well, now you have Democrat leaders mooing and just making animal noises for no reasons. Are we literally witnessing Old Testament justice before our eyes? Here we go.
Now, I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't,
that's an applause line.
We're going to stand up. We're going to speak out. We're going to march. We're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow. You musty moon.
Like you must moo. They're actually being reduced. They're being reduced to animals. They're being reduced to animal noises. Speaking of, ladies and gentlemen, people being reduced to, I don't really know. Cavemen. This is George Lopez. You remember George Lopez, the comedian? Used to do stand-up specials. People thought he was kind of funny. It was always kind of a creation of Hollywood culture. He wasn't actually ever that funny, but there was a time when George Lopez was like this. Get me a photo. Get me a photo of George Lopez, clean shaven from the early aughts, right? This is what Trump derangement does to a person. There you go. Good. Yeah. Okay. Here's the difference. Okay. Here's George Lopez, pre-Donald Trump, pre full-blown TDS. And this is George Lopez after, at the beginning of the second Trump presidency. This is what it does to you. Okay? Don't, please, don't let undiagnosed TDS ruin your life too. These are the people who are running the government. These are the theater freaks who were running the government for the last 4 years. In case you're wondering why egg prices are so high. Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to set all of that up just to give you just a little bit of extra gunpowder in your coffee this morning. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, that's the resistance. That's it. The party of Dylan Mulvaney and David Hogg and mentally disturbed George Lopez, caveman George Lopez, and members of Congress doing animal noises. That's who's standing in our way. And Donald Trump's saying, oh, wow, you actually are a fake party. And it's all fake. And there actually isn't any resistance. We're just going to march right through your lines and topple your castles and break your idols. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of idol breaking today. Trump administration begins mass layoffs across multiple agencies. Let's freaking go. Day after the Trump administration ended its deferred resignation offer to the nation's 2 million federal government employees, the administration on Thursday began mass layoffs across multiple federal agencies in a move that is expected to impact thousands of employees. Sources familiar with the matter told ABC. The layoffs, part of Trump's campaign pledge to slash the federal government, initially impacted probationary employees, recent hires joined by the federal workforce within the last 2 years, depending on the agencies. Based on the most recent data available, March 2024, there were approximately 150,000 federal workers, excluding Defense Department employees, with 1 year or less of service. Among the agencies experiencing layoffs were the Department of Education, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, the Office of Personnel Management, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the General Services Administration, Small Business Administration. Some of the additional agencies also directed to begin their layoffs Thursday, sources said. At some agencies, workers received written notice via email that they had been let go and then locked out of their workplaces. At OPM, that's the signature of big balls, okay? That's how you know you've been teabagged by big balls. Is when you just get, when your password changes and they know that like that this is like, these feds like don't even, they're so illiterate on like working inside of any systems that actually have any relation to the real world and the private sector with any type of competency or command of like the universe around us as it is, not as it used to be in the 1950s, which is where the government is. All you have to do is just change their password once and they're fired. They can't do it. They can't do anything. They have to go down into the cave troll mine, which we have an update on in just a second. At some agencies, workers joined a phone call with a pre-recorded message notifying them of their firing. According to somebody familiar with the call. About 200 probationary workers were on the call. So you have a pre-recorded message. It says from the acting director, but it would be hilarious if it was big balls. Just a big balls pre-recorded message. So what would you say you do here? For real, no cap. Bro. Not cool. It's like, you know, it's so easy. It's just like having gamer handles go through and fire you, right? Yeah. Ligma Johnson, Diggas Biggas, Hairy Balls, and Big Balls coming through like a wrecking ball and telling you, here we go. Good afternoon. This is what the call said. Thank you very much for your time to meet today. This is a difficult conversation. I want to be direct and ensuring that you have all the information and support that you need. According to an audio recording obtained by ABC, this is what the OMB director, Charles Ezell, said. He told employees they were all being laid off and instructed them to gather your personal things and leave. Close the meeting to express hope. And I love that it's pre-recorded. So it's like all the screeching and screaming and crying and rage. Like you can't, what are you going to do? Like yell at the robot? They should actually have Elon's Tesla robots do these things. Expressing hope that those who fired us would use this as an opportunity for our next step forward. Got it. Prior to layoffs, agencies have been directed by Office of Personnel Management, acts as a federal government HR agency, to compile a list of probationary employees in their agencies. Thousands and thousands and thousands of feds being let go today. Now, we warned them. I want to begin by saying this because there's some like really, some very, very interesting things that are happening right now. We warned them, okay? We said that the fork in the road email, if we could please resurface that. There's this fork in the road email that was sent out. And we did a show where we said, I beg you, if you are somebody who has any type of skill or capacity to cut it in the private sector, if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're just somebody who believes in yourself, take the offer. It won't get better. The reason why we said this is because we know Russ Vought, because we know the people who are doing it. We know the people inside the administration. We understand how they are looking at this puzzle, right? And how they're going to solve it. Please get me the fork in the road email. Okay, thank you. It's very important. It's one of the most crystal clear and most beautifully worded pieces of government documentation you'll ever see. Deferred resignation email to federal employees. The fork in the road, as it's called here. It's very similar email was actually sent out to the workforce at Twitter when Elon Musk took it over. And it goes like this. This is your golden ticket to retire, resign, leave your job, get 8 months pay, get whatever retirement you've earned. You can do whatever you want for 8 months. You can get out of Dodge. You can leave. And then you can use that time to go find another job. You can get 2 paychecks during that time. You can go be useful to the American economy and the American society. You can be a useful function of the culture, right? Instead of a parasite or a cancer on it. At the time when we read this, we did a whole show where we said what this is it's a trap. The useful employees are going to take it. They're going to say, absolutely, this is the best offer I've ever received. You mean I get to be paid and I get to go be an accountant somewhere else and probably make more money? Yes. Done. Gimme. Now. They grabbed the offer and they left. About 100,000 feds did that. Said, wow, I actually have skill that translates to the private sector. I'm not a zero value or negative value employee. But because I've spent so much time working in DC, because I know these feds, because I know who they are, many of them can't even get their fat asses up to go into the office. Do you realize this? Many of them don't fit into the offices. They don't function outside of these work from home, they're so handicapped, they're so crippled mentally, physically, emotionally. These are the kind of people that were so scared of COVID that they've decided to bar themselves in, lock themselves in forever. Never be a functional or productive part of society. And what they found in the federal government was a permanent welfare program that effectively paid them much more than welfare ever would to do nothing. And they know that they'll never find that in the private sector. And so they're clinging on to that fraud, right, against the American taxpayer. It's called a charity, right? So we are giving them charity in the form of a paycheck for a no-show job that they don't do. It's not going to work out anymore. And so, being like the good-hearted people that we are, we decided to warn those feds that this was a trap, okay? Maybe some people told us to say, maybe that's how it was explained to us, actually. Who knows? This is a trap. This is an opportunity for people like Elon Musk and Office of Personnel Management, run by Russ Vought, to see which feds were actually useful. Take the job and move immediately to the private sector and go be productive members of society. The zero value, negative value employees are, of course, going to cling to their welfare fed jobs as long as humanly possible. And they're the ones who deserve to be fired. And now that's what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing. Here we go, baby. Mass layoffs happening as we speak. Let's go.
75,000 federal workers have accepted the administration's buyout offer to get paid until September or risk being laid off. About 3% of the federal workforce, less than the 5 to 10% the administration was hoping for. That offer now closed, and tonight we're learning mass layoffs for those who didn't take the offer have begun, with thousands of people expected to be let go. The Department of Education yesterday firing 40 employees hired over the last year. in a letter telling them the agency finds, based on your performance, that you have not demonstrated that your further employment at the agency would be in the public interest.
What more are you learning about these mass layoffs?
Yeah, Stephanie, tonight we have learned that people who work at several agencies have now been informed that they've been fired as part of these mass layoffs. People that work at the Education Department, the EPA, the Small Business Administration, and other agencies now being told they no longer have a job. And Stephanie, thousands more are expected to be impacted.
Mike Davis was on our show saying Letitia James' fat ass is going to be put in prison. His words, not mine. Okay, take it up with him. We told Letitia James what was going to happen. She got sued yesterday by the DOJ. And little birdies tell us that they haven't even gotten started on carving up Letitia James. We told these feds that this was a trap. That you should take the offer and run. And even if you don't know what you're going to do, like, just figure it out, because you are being walked into a bear trap. The feds who are going to cling the hardest to their welfare jobs are the ones who are going to be fired first. And that's exactly what's going on. Oh, it's so salty, ladies and gentlemen. We are sorry for the salt. We haven't given enough salt to our liberal friends this week. My producer, executive producer ALX, reminding me that we must always salt our libs to keep them with the sodium that they need to survive. You have to have sodium to survive. You do. And when they're crying so much, they lose their sodium, and we're kind on this show. And so we salt our libs, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our salty lib of the day. CNN reporting on the layoffs, holding back literal tears.
Scores of federal workers' jobs on the chopping block as the Trump administration instructs federal agencies to move forward with layoffs. Probationary workers who've been employed for less than a year or two taking the brunt of this hit. Officials targeting their positions because they have fewer job protections than other federal employees and are not able to appeal the decision. According to recent data, there are more than 200,000 employees who fall into that category. Some of the agencies hit hardest this week: the Department of Education, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Small Business Administration, and the Department of Energy. Those firings come as President Trump, with the help of Elon Musk and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, swiftly moved to shrink the size of the federal workforce and restructure the very workings of the federal government. Democrats are trying to push back against the changes. It's proven an uphill battle as they have little leverage in Republican-controlled Washington.
There are public servants across the nation who go to work every single day to fulfill their duties and their obligations to the American people, and all of them are at risk.
Excess federal employment and liberal ideology go hand in hand. We, again, need an efficient government, not a government creating jobs for the sake of creating government jobs.
Why weren't you listening, man? You know, to the feds that are crying today, like, why weren't you listening? Just like, tune into the show. We'll find clips like these for you. You don't have to watch the whole thing. It's like, this is like 90 minutes of Elon Musk being interviewed via Zoom. Elon Musk in a tech support shirt from inside of the executive office building next to the White House, in fluorescently lit, dingy office that he's sleeping in a sleeping bag in. Elon Musk saying, no, you don't understand. We're not just deleting your job. We're deleting your agency. It's not like you can come back and work for the Department of Education in the next administration. It won't be there. We've been warning you, Fed. Here we go.
Well, I think we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. But if you remove the roots of the weed, it doesn't stop weeds from ever growing back, but it makes it harder. So we have to really delete entire agencies, many of them. And that's not to say there won't be an increase over time of bureaucracy in some new administration, but it'll be from a much lower baseline. So it's a step in the right direction. I think the overarching goal here is to lay the foundation for prosperity that will last many decades, maybe centuries. And but it won't be forever. Nothing's forever. But I think we can strengthen the foundations of the United States substantially.
I'm like a true father of 12. Like, I'm just going to save the country for my kids. Dude, that's actually the greatest motivator on earth. Little X. Do we have it loaded? We just perma-load it. Little X. Save America. Help Trump. Like, it's pretty easy, actually. Like, these are the best motivators. Donald Trump saying, get ready. Get ready. I'm going to cast this is a great meme. A great Harry Potter meme. How dare you use my own spells upon me, Potter. Donald Trump, I'm going to audit the IRS. Oh, hell yes. Let's go.
Mr. President, DOGE workers arrived today, Gavin Clagger and others arrived today at the IRS. Do you expect to close the IRS, or what are you expecting?
No, I don't expect it, but I think that the Internal Revenue Service will be looked at like everybody else. Just about everybody's going to be looked at. So they're doing a hell of a job. It's an amazing job they're doing. And, that force is building I call it the force of super geniuses, but it's building. And, they go up and they talk to some of the people about certain deals, and the people get all tongue-tied. They can't talk because these people get it. They're very smart people. We need smart people, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just go very, very quickly here before we get to the congressman that is the single happiest congressman on planet Earth right now, Representative Andy Biggs, who's just... just whistling Dixie. Here we go. The savings. Andy Biggs has been talking about this on our program for years. Saving 75,000 government employees taking the Trump buyouts. That'll save the federal government $7.5 billion in salaries, not including benefits. So tens of billions of dollars already saved. You can go ahead over here to the national U.S. debt clock that now has a new widget that shows how much DOGE has saved. Oh, okay. DOGE has saved close to $100 billion. It's like, and they've only been at it for 3 weeks, barely. Not even really 3 weeks. Right there on the top left, please. The gold clock right there with the DOGE badge. Yep. Let's go ahead and zoom in. I just want to make sure that everyone can see this beautiful, sweet number. There it is. The actual saving clock, DOGE clock. You can find this at usdebtclock.org. Oh, yeah, baby. So as all the feds lose their jobs, something very fascinating is happening, according to Google, and we checked this. Oh, my. Google Trends in Washington, D.C. are starting to look pretty frightening, ladies and gentlemen. The District of Columbia Google Trend for immunity is skyrocketing. Immunity. How do I get immunity for my crimes? The Google Trends for lawyer have increased by 400%, according to data from Google Trends. This one's my favorite. Washington, D.C. searches for Swiss bank, offshore bank, and wire money have skyrocketed over time. Do you feel like you are a slave to a criminal enterprise and that these people have just been put there to rob you blind? Which is exactly what's happened for my entire life. Yes. And now they're trying to get away with their crime. Every single wire out of DC for over $1 million needs to be audited immediately. Needs to be shut down and audited immediately. Who's moving that kind of money? Which Fed is moving that kind of money? Where'd they get it? It's like the single greatest heist and robbery, the single largest value money heist and robbery that's ever. Bernie Madoff, Sam Bankman-Fried has nothing on these guys. They're dime store criminals compared to what's happening in DC right now. The Constitution explicitly requires, says Vivek, the government to tell the public how our money is being spent. Until now, they haven't. Article 1, Section 9. A regular statement and account and receipts of expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. The DOGE website is live, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy. Go on over, and you can see DOGE finally actually publishing where our money's going in this nation. Oh, it's just an exciting time to be alive.